So, Shannon Sharpe. Yeah, you know, Instagram boy. We'll never live past that. He decided to go on his show and say the claim of the Bengals' issues are Joe Burrow. It's Joe Burrow's fault, guys. Because the whole world right now is saying it's not Joe Burrow, and it's the defense and the offensive line, and also play calling from Zach Taylor. But yeah, remember, this is sports media. This is sports analyst. Oh, so my bad. Analyst. Where you just got to say the polar opposite to piss people off. Joe Burrow currently is playing at an MVP level. He currently has... Let me pull up this thing here. He currently has 3,337 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So Shannon Sharpe says, if your defense can't stop anybody, what you can't do at the quarterback position is turn the ball over. He's turning the ball over at the most inopportune times. And I agree. I 100% agree with that, Shannon. You said the most blatantly obvious take on God's green earth. That's a blatantly obvious take. You know what? If your defense can't stop nothing, don't turn it over. But, Shannon, why does he turn it over? Does he just throw interceptions? Well, he has 5 this year, which I don't think any of them resulted in touchdowns. But, hey, okay. Was it 5 critical interceptions? And actually, no, 1 did. Raiders pick 6. Let me not forget. That was more on Yoshi, if anything. But that's beside the point, right? Other than that, I don't think any of them resulted in touchdowns. Out of those 5 interceptions, one, I'm just going off the top of my head here. The one Eagles one definitely sucked. But Jamar Chase didn't even go for the football. So that's, again... I mean, even his interceptions, you kind of put him questionable. None of them came in critical situations that cost us the game. The big thing I will give Shannon here, right, is his fumbles. Fumble for 6 versus KC, you can't let that happen. Fumble for 6 versus the Steelers, you can't let that happen. A second fumble last week. He has 7 fumbles on the year, which is currently the second most of his career. 2020, his rookie year, with our worst offensive line known to man, he had 9 fumbles. And this year so far, he has 7. So he currently is sitting at, 2 fumbles away from tying his rookie season. And again, it's a blatantly obvious take. That's why I hate these takes. It's a blatantly obvious take. Yeah, don't turn the ball over. And yes, his fumbles, again, like I said before, are definitely an issue. But why is he fumbling the ball? Again, that's what I want to bring it back to. Why is he fumbling it? Is it because he wants to? No. It's because his offensive line sucks. So, again, I know you're going to say, well, that's because Joe can't do anything about his offensive line. Joe can't force the front office to fix his offensive line. Joe has to work with what he has in front of him. And his offensive line is a problem. Joe doesn't go out there and throw blatantly stupid interceptions like some quarterbacks do. That's not how Joe operates. His interceptions, either it's him trying to go down the field and stretch the field, and maybe the receiver gave up on the ball or whatever. But usually all his interceptions are somewhat logical that makes sense. Even like, let's say, for example, the Ravens interception, Jamar Chase. He threw a slant route to Jamar Chase, and maybe a blatant pass interference call that should have been pass interference, but it is what it is. That doesn't get called. That's intercepted. Eagles interceptions, going deep to Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase doesn't even go for the football. That Chase interception on the slant route against the Ravens, not his fault. T. Higgins interception, it was way too high up. That was on Joe 100%. T tipped it. Another play tipped it, got intercepted. His 4th interception was a pick 6, which, again, is not good. But I don't really hold that too much against Joe because that was Yoshi not blocking correctly. Let the guy go through and ended up letting the pick six happen. What other pick am I missing? He had a pick against Carolina. I do not remember that interception. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure that interception, I don't know. It was against Carolina. Didn't impact the game. We still won the game in the end. My point is, most of his interceptions have not came in the most opportune time or missed opportune, whatever, the most inopportune time. They haven't. Most of his interceptions have not. His fumbles, they have. His fumbles last week, definitely. His fumble versus Kansas City, absolutely. But again, you're missing the real issue here and the real problem, and that is, again, the situation with the offensive line. His fumbles this year, 2 have came versus Pittsburgh last week. 2 came against Baltimore. 2 came against KC. And 1 came against New England. So again, yes, it's a problem, right? It is, 100%. We already know that. But it's still a thing where the offensive line is majority of that problem. Are not running the football and making every single game become a passing shootout is a problem. This is stuff you have to take in consideration. So when you sit there and you want to point the finger at Joe Burrow, I agree. He definitely needs to take a little bit of blame for this season. But he's not the one to blame. He's not the one you look at and say, oh, it's all your fault. There's a list of people to blame. And Joe is near the damn bottom of that list. He is doing everything with what he's given. And he's not given much. And he's still getting the damn job done. And this is exactly why analysts and pundits say this stupid stuff. Because they want my reaction like this. They want us to react the way I just reacted. Because that's how they make their money. They get views. They get clicks. They get blah, 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 blah. That's how they want to do it. It's stupid. And I know Shannon, he says this stuff because he wants to get a reaction out of people. He wants to say outlandish crap. And it's just stupid. It really is. If we had a good offensive line, Joe would not have 7 fumbles. And that's just God's honest truth. If we had a good offensive play caller and we actually had an OC and we didn't have freaking Zach Taylor as OC, Joe wouldn't have 5 interceptions. That's just the God honest truth. And we wouldn't be having this conversation and be sitting at a 4-8 record. If we had any pits of defense, we wouldn't be 4-8 right now. These are all things that contribute to us losing and us being in the situation we're in. There's a couple bright spots and Joe's one of them. That's just facts. Tell me down below your thoughts, opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.